Today on Live, Governor Greg Abbott has Drew Darby supporters thrown out of a rally held right here in San Angelo. A local chef is cooking for the homeless. All of those Stripes convenience stores have been sold, and a local Japanese restaurant calls it quits. Those stories and more, I'm Matt Cotrier, and this is Live. We'll get to those stories in just a few minutes. But first, you need a new or improved driveway? How's your ranch road? What about your parking lot? Now is the time to get it repaved. San Angelo-based Mac Asphalt and Paving is ready to get to work for you right now. Go to macasphaltpaving.com and request a free, no-obligation quote. They're offering heavily discounted repaving and paving packages right now. If you've been thinking about paving your driveway, your parking lot, or your ranch road, get a quick turnaround quote while you can save a whole lot. Do so by going to macasphaltpaving.com. Governor Abbott was in San Angelo today, and some Darby supporters found themselves thrown out of a rally. Abbott was in San Angelo for the second time this month, supporting Darby's challenger, Stormy Bradley. Abbott is opposing Darby because Darby voted against the governor's school voucher program. Darby is one of the 16 state representatives who voted against the governor on school choice during 4 special sessions. As a result, the Texas House blocked the governor's signature issue. Another local restaurant is unfortunately calling it quits today. Shabu, Japanese buffet on Sherwood Way between Henry's and Diego's, is closing Monday. The restaurant has gone by several names over the last year, including Agua Bistro, the Blue Tiger, and Shabuya Restaurant. That place just doesn't seem to have much luck. Owners made the announcement Thursday afternoon on social media. You can read more about that story here first. Have you downloaded the all-new San Angelo Live app? It's pretty cool. It's now available on the App Store and the Google Play Store, so both iPhone and Android users can have all the latest news stories delivered directly to their phones. That's the all-new San Angelo Live mobile app, available now. Local restaurant owner Tim Condon will be cooking for the less fortunate at the homeless camp this weekend. In our exclusive story, Condon says he likes to come to know people through their experiences with food. The Angry Cactus owner says he will be cooking fajitas for the residents there and listening to their testimonials, focusing on similarities rather than differences. Also, as we reported last night, all the Stripes convenience stores in West Texas have been purchased by 7-Eleven and will be rebranded. The 204 stores were originally part of the Town & Country food store chain that began in San Angelo by Steve Stevens. Stevens sold the stores to a group of employees and investors who in turn sold them later to the company that owned Stripes. The deal between Stripes and 7-Eleven is reportedly worth $1 billion. Read that story on sanangelolive.com. It's going to feel a lot like spring this weekend as sunny skies produce afternoon high temperatures in the upper 70s Saturday, in the 80s on Sunday, and the afternoon high will be back up near 90 degrees by Monday. There's still no rain in the forecast for the Concho Valley for the next 10 days though. And when we come back, Ryan Chadwick and James Bellini talk about the high school basketball playoffs in this week's edition of Cover One. Then an interview with San Angelo's Assistant Director of Neighborhood and Animal Services, Morgan Chegwidden. But first, let's hear a word from the Bass Bunch.
2024 means savings galore at Jim Bass Mazda. Why not drive off our lot in a new 2024 Mazda CX-30, priced right at just $28,999. While you're here, be sure to ask about 2.9% APR financing for 72 months. This SUV has earned a top safety pick, which gives you peace of mind. Hurry! These are limited offers, and you can only get these deals at Jim Bass Mazda at the corner of Houston Hart and Arden Road, or shop 24/7 at bassbunch.com.
What's up, everybody? It's James Bellini here, your host for Cover One, with my co-host, Ryan Chadwick. Chadwick, how are we doing? I mean, playoff basketball around the Concho Valley, I guess around the state of Texas, is in full swing. All the boys enter the area matchups tonight, and we also got a couple girls team who made it to round 4, regional semifinal action time. We got some great matchups planned for y'all, and including some for right here within the city limits of San Angelo. So I don't know, James, I'm just excited.
Yeah, dude, we got Central, we got TLCA, we got Wall. I mean, we got a full slate ahead of us, so let's just jump right into it. Central versus Keller, Ryan, in Clyde at 6:30. Tell me about it.
Well, first off, I will be there. I'm actually leaving here pretty soon to travel to Clyde. And after the Bobcats won last week against El Paso Franklin in a game that were, frankly, it could have gone either way multiple times. The Bobcats ended up winning that one by almost 10, but they now follow in the Lady Cats' footsteps. They also they also played in Clyde, where they ended up losing to Fort Worth Boswell in their round 2 matchup. But tonight, the Bobcats play Keller, and Keller is one of the favorites who might make a run at the state title. So Keller's favored in this one. I do know the Bobcats got a lot of size on their roster. It's going to be a tough game for the Bobcats either way, but I do know how streaky this team is, and if the Bobcats get hot, they can score, and they can score quickly. But I do think they're going to have to lean on their big men tonight, and Colin Albright and TK Taylor. Of course, TK Taylor had 22 points in the round 1 game against Franklin, and he's really coming to his own. He's only a sophomore. He's really just balling out right now. And, of course, Colin Albright, 6'9", plays center, plays forward a little bit. I don't know what his exact position is. I think he switches around a little bit. But he is already committed to play Angelo State next season, and he's really coming to his own too. So I think if the Bobcats are going to win this one, they're going to need their big men to really show up. And they're also going to have to not turn the ball over. If I could say one thing that this team does when they have either a big lead or they're ahead or they're playing great, is that they start turning the ball over. And it is, as for the fans, and I'm sure Coach Rock out there too, it is frustrating no end. So this one's going to be a tough matchup. But hey, upsets, basketball is the one sport where upsets happen all the time. So let's go Bobcats.
All right, let's move on to the 3A boys. Got TLCA versus Holiday in Haskell at 6:30. TLCA won their matchup 85-50. Jaden Villanueva's back. Romero's back. Drew Sherrill is still there. They seem to turn it on. They can get it done. And then Wall versus Cityview in Anson at 6:30. Wall and Cityview played in this round last year, and Cityview got the better of them. But maybe Wall can pull this one out. They still have Duncan and Stansberry and Logan Thomas out there.
Ogden Hallmark.
Hallmark, yep.
I think that this Wall team is a little bit better than last year's too. They're co-district champions. They got one over on an injured TLCA team on the last week of the season. But Cityview isn't a joke, and I know that Wall's going to have to be at their best if they want to beat them. But compared to last year, I'm much more comfortable at picking Wall in this game.
Yep, and TLCA, if they beat Holiday, they could end up. Jim Ned won. They beat Brock last night, so they could play their district rival in Jim Ned next week. So let's see how this plays out for them. All right, moving on to 2A, Reagan County versus Ropes at Big Spring at 6:30. Reagan County, that was a tight game between them and Colorado City for a while there, until the fourth quarter when they held them to 6 points. The Owls held the Wolves to 6 points, and then they started kind of pulling ahead, and Kason Brown ended up with 27 points. They didn't play, I think, to their best for being as highly ranked as they were, but I guarantee they got on to them. Hey, we got to clean this up. We got to fix this, or we're gonna get beat.
Yeah.
So
James,
I
in
guarantee
that
that
one,
happened.
I remember on Tuesday when I was in Andrews watching the Bobcats, you texted me the score entering the fourth quarter, and it was a 3-point game. I was like, what are they doing? Hats off to Colorado City. Played lights out, played out of their minds, really challenged the number 4 team in the state. But Reagan County's got to come correct. They got to come ready to play. Otherwise, they're going to get beat. This is the team that's supposed to make that deep playoff run. So
Kason Brown hit 2,000 points this season. And look, you can be off on offense.
Yes.
You can have a bad
it's basketball.
game
Sometimes the ball just doesn't go in the hoop. Yeah,
exactly. Your shots can be off, but you can always improve defensively. So Colorado City's shots were hitting, and they were just on that night. So, I guarantee they're going to be locked in. They have too talented of roster to not be locked in. All right, and moving on, El Dorado versus Plains. El Dorado actually, they beat Roscoe at Central,
which was an upset. Let's throw that out there.
Yeah.
That was an upset. Roscoe was a really good team this year, and El Dorado just came like just take it away on this one, James. They just came and whooped them.
I was there, and it was a tight game all the way through, and then there in that last minute took forever. They were Roscoe was fouling. They were trying to put people on line. There were some ticky-tack calls I thought that I maybe wouldn't have called if I were a ref. Because I think 4 or 5 players ended up fouling out between both teams. And that last minute just took forever to get through. Free throws really saved El Dorado. And I guess we got something special for him, right, Chadwick?
Yeah, we do. And that is, we usually have a Cover One Player of the Week, but instead of a Player of the Week, we're actually just going to give it to the entire El Dorado Eagles squad. And we just want to let you know that Carpet Tech is a proud sponsor of Cover One Athletics, and this year brings you the Cover One Player of the Week, or this week, the Team of the Week. Carpet Tech is your local go-to carpet cleaner. Remember, if your home is in a wreck, call Carpet Tech at 325-999-5142.
Look at those guys. They're holding up the gold ball, man. I'm telling you that. I think the entire town of El Dorado came out to support them too. So that was really cool to be there.
And there's nothing better in sports than an upset, right? Because first off,
you always want to root for the underdog.
Yeah,
right?
Everyone wants to root for the underdog, and not only when the underdog plays well, but they do something that they weren't supposed to, and they end up winning that game. I don't know. That's gonna be a memory that this senior squad remembers for the rest of their lives. Because shoot, James, we still talk about our glory days back in the day sometimes. You know what I mean? We're in our 30s at this point.
How many glory days there were, but
hey,
the few that there were stick
baby.
out. The few that there were stick out. All right, Ryan, what's our next game, man?
All right, moving on. We did have a 2A game that went final because it played last night, and it was Sterling City and New Home in the area around the playoffs. The Eagles played New Home, and New Home is good this year. Let's just put it that way. New Home took care of business, and they won this one 75-33. It still is a great season from the Sterling City Eagles. All I can say is that they played tough on defense all year, but just like we were saying earlier with Reagan County, the shots just weren't falling for the Eagles last night, so they ended up losing to that one.
They ended up playing Miles in the first round. That's turned into a pretty good little school rivalry right there.
Yep, and it just seems like the schools keep switching on who beats who. You know, like last year the football team, the Eagles beat the Bulldogs, and then this football season, Miles kind of returned the favor.
48-0.
Yeah, that one was lopsided. But Sterling City got their revenge once again, winning in the first round of the playoffs in basketball. So look forward to seeing more from both the Bulldogs and the Eagles next season.
Yeah, and New Home, their next opponent could be Reagan County if Reagan County beats Ropes. So. All right, moving on to 1A, we got Erie County versus Buena Vista and Hermley at 7:30. We got Robert Lee versus Marfa in Garden City. It's going on actually 2 o'clock today, and then Very Best and Van Horn in Fort Stockton at 6 p.m. So we got some good ones there. Erie County, of course, we know how good they are. I was kind of surprised when I was putting together an article for them, and I saw that as long as Morrow has been there, John Morrow, their coach, their head basketball coach, I think they're like 63-1 in district, which is an insane stat when you think about it. So he's got those kids playing hard. They got the 2 kids from the 2 foreign kids from Coviso over here who are playing lights out. You know, I remember that first game I was at when I saw his name is Cron just play out of his mind, and he was high-fiving people in the stands. He was so fired up, and I mean they seem to be falling right in and having a good time. And, yeah, I think they should beat Buena Vista pretty handily. Ryan, what about Robert Lee versus Marfa?
So Robert Lee is a bit of a mixed bag. When the boys show up, they can play, and like they challenge Arion County a couple of times this season. Never could get over that hump and beat them, but it's still a talented basketball team. I think that this should be a pretty even matchup going into this one, but again, I'll say it again. If you don't come correct, you're not going to win. So you gotta play tight on defense. You got to knock down some open shots. If Robert Lee turns the ball over, they're not winning. But I do think that this could be a very good opportunity for them to try to make a push for the regional tournament.
Yep, absolutely. And then Very Best versus Van Horn in Fort Stockton. Van Horn's pretty good this year. Very Best, I think, was 500 in district. But if Very Best wins, they could end up playing Erie County next week, I believe.
But you want to talk about improvement, man. Very Best, the boys team wasn't very good last year. We were all on the Lady Falcons last year, but this year they've done a complete turnaround. I know they were only 500 in district, but now they're in the playoffs. They've even won a playoff game, so keep it going. Let's see if they can do it again.
All right, now on to the girls' side. Cristobal play the Lady Cougars play Farwell and South Plains College in Levelland. Then at some 1A action, you got Erie County versus Westbrook and Western Texas College and Snyder at 4. And then Robert Lee versus Eula at Western Texas College at 6. Let's go back to that Cristobal game real quick. This one could be tough for the Lady Cougars. I'm just going to be honest, keep it 100%. They have 3 players at Farwell. They have 3 players at Cristobal who took the top 3 off their scoring. McKaylee Baldwin for Lady Steer in Farwell. She scores 13.2 points. Isabella Jamie scores 10.3 points, and Landry Ritchie scores 10.3 points. On the Cristobal side, Hallie Hughes scores 14.4 points, and she actually had a career best 27 points against Sundown last game. Madison George scores 8.7 points a game, and Jordan Walker scores 6.3 points a game. So the Lady Cougars, I'm sure Coach Blaylock stressed this to them. They have to be damn near perfect here to get a win. It's going to be tough. Farwell is extremely good, but I don't think either one of these teams have lost in the past 2 months. So this should be a high-powered matchup here.
Well, especially at this point in the season, man. Like this is the regional tournament now. That you win this, you're going to the state tournament. So, I mean, it's an accomplishment to even get this far. So every team that remains are one of the elites, So I still think Cristobal's capable of winning this game. They're kind of like the Bobcats, and when they go on a run, they can turn a 4-point run into a 12-point run, and all of a sudden you're down by 16 in the second quarter, So it's just going to depend on whether or not those shots are falling tonight. I know that the ladies can kind of scheme their way into open shots, but you just got to show up and you got to knock them down.
That game was actually Sundown actually had to fight back into it. They fought back into it, and then they actually got ahead at one point, and then Cristobal pulled it out. But we're going to need full metal to go full metal again in this one.
Yeah.
And then moving on, talk about Erie County real quick, the Rainey sisters.
Yep, so I watched the first round matchup when the Lady Hornets played Paint Rock at Angelo State, and man, like those Rainey sisters can play. Specifically, Bailey Rainey, the younger one of the two. I can't remember if she's a sophomore or junior this year. I know she still got a year or two left after this, but she's really good at just dominating the court. She always wants the ball in her hand, and when she has the ball in her hands, she's not scared to take an open shot. But more importantly, she's not afraid to be aggressive and drive the lane. So I think the Lady Hornets are going to lean on Bailey Rainey again. But that's not to take anything away from the other girls. They got several returners from last year's state runner-up team, and James, I think that the Lady Hornets are in prime position to make another push for that state tournament, and even maybe if a couple more shots fall, even in that state game last year, we may be looking at some state champions in Mertzen.
Yeah, but don't take anything away from Westbrook though. They are really good. They're 8-2 in district, 26-9 overall. They are extremely talented down there. Of course, Westbrook's just good at everything they do. And moving on to Robert Lee and Eula. I was at the Robert Lee game, the girls' game at ASU on Tuesday, and it was kind of a dogfight there for a while, and I think they actually went into halftime down.
Who were they playing?
They were, why'd you ask me that?
Oh, my bad. They won.
they
it
won,
doesn't matter, because they won.
Was it Garden City? No, it wasn't Garden City.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Let me check real quick. That's the boys.
Anyway,
but yeah. Moving on. They have to play well too. But right here, you're in the regional tournament. Every team is good,
and it's an accomplishment within itself. Like Absolutely. Straight up, like congratulations to the Ladies Series even making this far. But at the same time, don't adopt that attitude that this is as far as we can go. It's just like what I'm going to tell the Bobcats tonight. Just go out and play your hearts out, man. Well, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, they played. I don't know if that's correct. Anyway, final thoughts. Go Cristobal Lady Cougars. I'm a big fan. I think Coach Blaylock's done a fantastic job in his first year. And those three players I named, actually on both those teams, those three players, Hughes, George, and Walker, they're all juniors. So they have another year coming back. So that team is still extremely young. So go out, play your hearts out, and most importantly, have some fun, right?
Yeah. My final thought is I'm going to talk about the TLCA San Angelo Eagles.
Let's go, Coach Sherrill.
Yeah, pretty beat up towards the end of the district season. Didn't get that sole owner of the district championship this year. And that's got to leave a bit of a bad taste in their mouth because they weren't at their best. But now that they are, they shook the rust off in round one. I know that they started slower than they wanted to in that game, but they really came forward and they ended up winning by a pretty large margin in that first game. But I want to see something from the TLCA Eagles. They were supposed to make this kind of run last season. Let's make it this season. I want to see how far that Coach Sherrill and the rest of these Eagles can go in this playoff run. And I honestly want to see them try to make a bid into the state tournament this year.
All right. Well, this has been Friday's edition of Cover One. Go out, watch some basketball tonight. I know these games are kind of a drive, but what else are you doing go watch some basketball, support your local athletes, and report back to us. This is, like I said, this has been Cover One. I'm your host, James Bellini, with Ryan Chadwick, and we will see you next week.
See ya.
This month only, mix and match cleaning and disinfecting services and save big with Carpetech. For example, get your carpet clean, save 10%. Get your carpet and tile clean, save 15%. Or get your carpet and tile and air ducts clean, save 20%. Call Carpetech today, 325-735-5142.
If your home is in a wreck, call Carpetech, yeah.
If you have been injured, call J. Chandler Law. You want an honest partner who will tell it to you straight. A proven advocate right here in town. Together, let's hold them accountable.
And welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining us. And joining me again today is Morgan Chegwidden with the San Angelo Animal Services out at the animal shelter. Morgan, thanks for coming back.
Yeah, thanks for your time. I always love coming.
I know you're busy, and you got all kinds of things going on, and a shelter full of dogs and cats.
We sure do.
Let's see, what's happening? You had they had an adoption event today.
Yeah, we're really grateful for our partnership with Contra Valley Paws, and they were able to pull a good many dogs out to a mobile event today at Sierra Methodist Church. And so if you missed it, we still have plenty of dogs for adoption.
There's still some, okay.
But we like taking advantage of opportunities like that to get some dogs out of the shelter, get a different population, maybe folks just happening by, whereas you're almost never just driving by my shelter. It's quite a trek to get out there. But yeah, we're optimistic. That event was really successful.
Okay, and right now you're in the middle of the Rover Roundup of reattaching, getting some of those pets home.
Yeah, we had a generous donor come forward and say, you're at capacity all the time. How can we get more pets home? And they said, if the reason folks aren't coming for their pets are the impound fees, then let us cover that. Let us pay that on behalf of the owner. And so we made a good many calls to, because there's a number of reasons, right? We often identify who an owner is, either through tags or chips or online posting of lost found pets.
Right.
But for whatever reason, that person just hasn't come yet for their dog. And maybe they're figuring out a fencing situation. Maybe they're having a personal crisis, like they were hospitalized, and that's why I have their dog, right?
Okay, yeah.
Or maybe your dog got out a couple months ago and you need to come double check if it's here at the shelter, in which case check out our online inventory.
Right.
But for whatever reason, if someone hasn't yet come for their pet, this is the time. Come on by, and this donor's paying for your impound fees, your boarding fees, your microchip fee. So you'll get your microchip implanted at no charge, and we love our microchip because there's no annual fee. It stays up to date. If you need it updated, we're your local office to do all of that. So it's a really great opportunity to get pets back home with their families.
Well, that's a pretty good chunk of change. I mean, that's having someone volunteer to pay for that is a very significant amount of money.
It can be. It can be. If your pet's been with me a minute, 10 days, it could be $150 for all of those items. And we recognize that can be problematic for some families.
Yeah.
And, there are folks that say, well, why did their dog wind up in the shelter? Why can't they keep their dog secure?
Yeah.
And we would just say, look, it's happened to all of us.
Right.
Right. And so I would hope that someone would show me a bit of grace in a time that I was struggling. And I would also say that, just if somebody's dog winds up in the shelter and they don't come for it, maybe they have a general distrust of government, maybe they don't have reliable transportation, maybe they're concerned they're gonna get hit with a bunch of fees, and they're not coming to get their dog, within a couple months they're gonna have a new dog. And because we're committed to no kill, we are going to hold on to their dog because it's a nice dog.
Yeah.
And I would rather just that dog go home with you and let us start, let's address whatever, issues you are facing. Is your dog unaltered? So he was running. Let's talk about getting you matched with a low cost neuter voucher. Let's get that addressed.
Okay.
Let's say your fencing is failing and falling down. Let's do a fence inspection. Let's see what some easy fixes are just for now to get that pet back home with you. That will continue that case management to get the household just fully compliant on everything with all the animals in the home. But let's just open the conversation. Let's get your dog back home with you, and then we'll stay with it.
See, I love that approach because it's not a monolithic, okay, here's a big square building and all the dogs are back there and we have your dog, come get it. It's a we're going to work together approach.
Yeah, and I have a brief story, if I may.
Oh, please.
We had a dog come in 2021. Her name was Tora. Beautiful, beautiful girl. And she was microchipped. She went home really quickly. Her owners came for her.
Okay.
She came in again in January of this year, 2024. So it's been 2.5 years since I've seen this dog. But I remembered her from 2021. I scanned the microchip. I see the owner name. Very unique name. We call the number. Doesn't go through. We dispatch an ASO to the address. She doesn't live there anymore. But with that unique last name, we look her up in other databases. We find the owner has moved to the Texas Panhandle 2 years ago. And this dog was stolen out of her yard the week she was moving. And she's like, I have lost sleep. Not knowing where my dog is, not knowing if she's safe, not knowing if she's healthy, and I've always wondered. She was like, so can I just be really sure it's your dog? I said, well, she's got a microchip implanted to you. That can't happen on accident. I said, and I remember your dog from 2021. I remember this. Yeah. And so I just happened to be driving to Big Spring, and I said, I don't know how much it helps you, but would it be worth it to meet you halfway? And that's not something we can always offer.
Right.
But meeting them at a location and seeing that dog. She was a happy enough dog at the shelter. She was a sweet girl. But she saw this family that she hadn't seen for 2 years, that she hadn't seen for half her life, lost her mind. The happiest dog, such a happy ending. I mean, those are the things that you've got to hold on to and hold close to your heart. That's why it's worth it, right? Not everybody is, they just must be a dirtbag owner that their dog would be in the shelter twice. Sometimes it's a lot more nuanced than that. So we do appreciate that we're not a monolith. We're your neighbors. We work with y'all. We live in your neighborhoods. We serve this community because we love San Angeloans.
Well, and it's an ongoing challenge. I mean, we're not going to fix all the problems that cause animals to wind up in the shelter overnight, and you deal with it on a daily basis. We see it weekly, and the thing is, and on social media, everybody sees it every day. Have you seen my dog? We found these dogs. Is your dog here? Come get him. And so we've got to work together because these problems aren't going away. And I just love the fact that you get generous donors like this to help programs like the Rover Return program.
Yeah, it's a really valuable show of support for our team and for this community.
Okay. Anything I've left out? Anything else you want to add?
We're still having our weekly open houses.
Okay.
And so every week from 5 to 6, we're gathering at the shelter, and anybody interested in learning more, anybody who has concerns about like an incident in their neighborhood or a neighbor they think aren't handling something correctly, or have ideas. We're wide open for that. We're trying to host some different events with the open houses, so definitely follow us on social media about what's coming for those, because some might pique your interest more than others. And so we're really looking forward to, and it's been good dialogue so far with folks who are passionate about solving the problem, and in hearing back from all perspectives of what can be done.
Okay. Just one more thing. It's warm outside right now. We're heading into spring. Is there any advice, anything people need to be looking for right now?
Definitely. I love a fence inspection, which is a fancy name for just get out and walk your fence. And, any areas that over the winter started to, dirt or grass pulling away from the bottom of your fence. There's some pretty affordable solutions to addressing that, whether you have a wooden privacy fence or a chain link fence. Also, I would have to mention your cats. If you have some unaltered female cats, now's the time to round them up and get them in for a spay surgery. We have made a lot of progress around our cats. You never hear us talk about cat capacity because we are able to we definitely see a decrease in the cat population. There are definitely pockets of town that we recognize are still having unmanaged colonies and lots of reproduction, but 'tis the season. Spring is when that's all happening.
That's
so
right.
Round your girls up.
Okay. Morgan, thanks for coming. And we hope to see you again soon.
Thanks. I appreciate y'all's time.
All right. Great luck out there. We'll go back to you guys.
Talking about being a conservative is easy, especially come election time, but delivering actual conservative results is very different. As your state representative, I'm proud to have passed the strongest state-led border security bill in the nation, the largest property tax cut in Texas history, and more school safety funding to protect our children. These aren't campaign talking points. They're real conservative results, delivered. I'm Drew Darby, and I'm asking for your vote to keep up this important work.
When it comes to unique pieces you can't find anywhere else, Conno's Diamonds and Coins is your one-stop shop. With over 24 years in the diamond and coin industry, Conno's Diamonds and Coins is West Texas's choice for diamonds, jewelry, coins, silver, and gold. Owner Bill Conno stands by his work and offers free consultations, including estate jewelry. Don't just trust anyone with your valuables. Come see the staff at Conno's at 1016 West Beauregard in San Angelo.
Well, thanks again, guys, for watching the only locally owned live news show in the Concho Valley. We really appreciate your feedback in the comments section and the letters you send into the editor. Thanks again for making San Angelo Live the #1 news source in the Concho Valley. We look forward to bringing you all the news again throughout 2024 first, as always. Have a great evening, and we'll see you back here next time.